Hi everyone! So I've now lived abroad for over 6 years and I feel like I've gathered a lot of experience. So I'm gonna give you 3 pros and 3 cons of living abroad. It's a really fun adventure, but just like everything else in life, it has ups and downs. Hands down, the biggest pro for me is the diversity. That's definitely my favorite part about living abroad. Being from Norway, I hadn't really met a lot of people from other countries because Norway is quite, we're not that diverse, let's be real. So I hadn't met that many people from different countries and all this, but now I've met people from countries I hadn't even properly thought about before, and I have friends from all continents of the world. It's like an enriching experience. I don't know, I just really like it. For instance, at my Halloween party we had 11 nationalities represented. That's pretty cool. We weren't even that many people. And then for a con, I'm gonna spread them out a bit so it's not super negative in one go, because I don't like that. One of the cons that you'll definitely be feeling all the time is that you're constantly missing out on things that are happening back at home. You don't get to take part in everything. Of course, you can go home for some occasions, but you can't really travel every time something happens. I mean, both for the planet, your wallet, and just your time in general, you can't do that. So you will miss out on things that you really don't want to miss out on. Birthdays, or maybe even big things like weddings, or just some holidays with your family, and just different traditions. Usually you would be together at this time and now you can't because you're abroad or you're working, or it's just not convenient for you to travel. It's gonna happen a lot. For instance, there was a funeral in my family not that long ago and I couldn't go. That sucks. It does. I'm gonna be honest, that sucks, not getting to be with your family when you want to, or when, things are happening, either good or bad. And it's a thing that doesn't stop being hard because people, things keep happening that you want to be part of, so that's definitely a big con for me. The second pro is perspective. You gain a whole new perspective on life and you go through such different things than what you did back home. Your life will most likely, depending on where you're from, but most likely it will be completely different here. Just for background info, I've lived in Orlando, Florida for 1 year, and then I've lived in London for 5 years now. Probably should have said that in the beginning of the video. But yeah, I just feel a whole different kind of educated now. I've learned so much about the world, about life, and about people. I've seen so many different things, heard so many different stories from people, and seen different lifestyles. Where you live in such a big city, there's so many different things, you meet so many different people and you learn things from everyone you meet, and it's really fun to think oh, that was from that person. Because also in a big city, people will be moving back, people are gonna move back home, move to other places. You're gonna be saying goodbye to people a lot, or just in general in a big city it's hard to keep in touch with people, and you're gonna remember, this is what I learned from that person. And people leave footprints in your life or in your memories and whatever, and it's really nice to think back on, and it's so cool that you can learn so much from these different people. And I definitely have a way bigger and better and just different perspective on life now than I did before. Before, I feel like I was living in this bubble, this is where my life is happening, and now I'm I am part of this whole world. A second con for me is almost kind of relevant to the perspective part. I don't know if this is just me personally or if other people find this as well, but for me it's that people at home can't understand my life, or can't understand what it's like for me to live here, or they just don't, understand what it's like to live abroad. I think people don't appreciate how hard it is actually to adjust to a new country, and how hard it is to, function and do all the things that they do, but in a different country where you don't know how to do things, or you don't know the system, or you don't know the rules. I don't know, I'm not trying to sound whiny here. I'm really sorry if I do, but that's that wasn't my intention at all. Through my whole experience here, I can't really complain about things that happen because I've chosen to be here. I'm not a refugee and had to move here. I chose to live here. Definitely a crazy big pro for living abroad is that you get to see a whole new way of life. You get to see how other people celebrate holidays, which is super fun. I think that's super cool to see because first of all, they celebrate different holidays than you do. So you're oh, Guy Fawkes night, what is this? And you get to enjoy, different Christmas celebrations because you can, enjoy the Christmas here, and then you can go back home and enjoy the, Christmas in your country. You get the best of both worlds. You get to do different things and enjoy both sides of things, which is really cool. I love seeing the lifestyle here and how people do things, the food, all the beige English food. I hadn't had fish and chips before I moved here, and now when I walk past a fish and chip shop, I'm I love new things, I like change and all these. So for me, living abroad is amazing because I get to constantly be stimulated and get new stuff, new inputs of everything. But I think it would be a really healthy experience for most people to just live abroad. You don't even have to do it for that long. I don't know, a semester abroad or a summer, get a job somewhere, just move there, enjoy few months in that country and then move back. You know the thing that says like travel is the only thing you pay for that makes you richer, and it's so true. The third and final con and final part of the list is that you'll have to just accept that you will be making mistakes according to the society that you're living in. Some things that you do in your hometown or home country, whatever, isn't gonna be acceptable here. It's really different. You have to adjust to a new way of life. It's very challenging, and I still find it challenging. Some things about English people and, you know, Britain and stuff like makes me crazy, but I can't complain. I really try and make a point to not complain about things, because this is the way I see it. If someone moved to Norway and they complain about everything, I would literally be like, why are you living here? Like, move back home. I don't want to be that person. But it is definitely a bit frustrating that I come off as rude sometimes and I do weird things, or people misunderstand me because things are just so different. And especially for me, because I am from Norway, right? And then I've lived in Florida, and that's a completely different place. And then now I'm living here where it's like, I want to still do the things I did in Florida. I want to still act that way, but I can't because it's totally not not socially acceptable. You have to just find the balance that you can be yourself enough that you're happy, but you can't do all the things you want to, because you will either freak people out or offend people, or, you know, it's a mess. It can be a mess. I'm definitely pissed off a lot of people, and I'm definitely weirded out a lot of people, but it's okay. It's gonna happen. That was my list. Living abroad is an ongoing challenge in both a good and a bad way. It's one of those things, like, if you want the good thing, you have to deal with like the other things, and the pros definitely outweigh the cons. Honestly, living abroad is such a fun experience, and if you want to do it, do it. Don't have the what if or like the regrets that you didn't. Yes, it's gonna be hard at times, but it's definitely worth it. I promise. Like, please do it. Don't take that really cool experience away from yourself. YOLO! Alright, if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a thumbs up. If you have any thoughts on this, or if you live abroad, please tell me what's your favorite part about living abroad, or if you were to move abroad, where would you move to? Alright, I shall see you next Friday. Keep with the good vibes. Bye!